All right, we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to another Bitovi front-end training. I am Justin Meyer, and with me this week is DoneJS core contributor David Luecki. Hey, David.
Hey, everybody.
David, I'm really excited for this. David's been, I think, David, you did the how to make a plugin training a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And now we're going to get even more meta, where David is going to talk about how to use the DoneJS generator to make your own generators. If you've ever used something like DoneJS Add NWJS or DoneJS Add Cordova, and now in DoneJS 9, you do DoneJS Add App, right? I think is what it is, right? If you've ever done that,
plugin.
Yeah, if you've ever done that, that downloads a, basically on the fly, downloads a generator and then runs that generator to add some structure to your application, or change your package.json so it includes all of Cordova's dependencies, and change your build script so it can build. So we've actually David made a generator that will generate a project that is a generator for DoneJS. And I'm really excited about it. This is in the plugin generator because I really want DoneJS to be about expansiveness. There's a million different, Cordova, Electron, NWJS. There's JSHint, which we're going to do today. There's ESLint. There's a million different side projects that help. DoneJS, we try to put a lot of them in there, but there's so many that we can never get them all. Hopefully, by having a plugin, as really the guides that we have are like 2 app guides, then how to make a plugin, and then how to make a generator. By having this, we hope that DoneJS will become more expansive, and I think this is the start. So, David, you want to kick it off?
Let's do it.
Show us what you got.
Let me know if you see it.
I see it.
Cool. So I gotta mute you. Oh, can you mute yourself? I'm getting an echo.
I was just saying I muted myself, but I had muted myself.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be similar to the plugin generator, which we have here. You can get there from the DoneJS homepage. But also, the new one is creating a generator. And what a generator is basically in your project, you can say something like DoneJS Add Cordova, or DoneJS Add NW, or in our case, what we want to do is DoneJS Add JSHint. To add JSHint, the generated app doesn't include that yet, because we don't know what code quality tools and styles you want to use. But we'll use add an editor config and JSHint in this guide as we go through it. Now, one thing is, this is how it looks. We'll look at it in a little bit. It asks you what kind of indentation you want to use, and then just create an editor config in JSHint configuration file, and also override the package.json to update the test script so that the code quality tool runs when you run npm test. Now I'm going to call this username JSHint. I'm going to use my username just because DoneJS JSHint already exists. And the first step is just like the plugin to create this thing. On my GitHub account.
Yeah, so the intent of this guide is to show people how to create a generator that you could actually share.
And contribute to, yeah. So even if it's just you, well, we said that in the plugin guide too, right? It's really helpful to use GitHub and Git and all the cool tools that you already get, like CI, Travis CI, and stuff like that. So the next step is initializing the project. This might take a little bit, so I've already done it. How it works is you just say DoneJS Add Generator. Give it a name, right? And then it'll ask you a couple of questions. see it down here, like author and GitHub username and all those things. That I've already done that here. So I initialized that project completely here. And if you look at it like this, you'll see it created everything we kind of need, like a Travis file and our lib directory. So the first thing that we can do, because this is a fully workable generator that also has some tests already, we can run npm test, and you'll see that it runs some tests for the generator. Now, what we always recommend, and you should always do, is set up continuous integration, because that helps people to contribute to the project, making sure that they don't break anything. So we, for all our open source projects, use Travis CI, and it's also free for any GitHub open source project. Now, I created the repository here already, but I do have to enable it here. So you go to accounts, and then you just say sync account. And it's a little slow, but it should eventually show up in my list of projects. While this is updating, I'm going to copy this.
Go through what is already generated a little bit more in detail.
Yes, I gotta open my editor anyway in a second. So first I gotta actually create a new Git repository. You just clone down this empty repository and then initialize your generator. You don't have to do this, but origin added, so whenever we can start pushing. Where is it? There it is. So this is important. You have to like always enable it. I don't know why there isn't like a way to make that happen for everything. But now when we push to this repository, we'll see the tests running.
So just to recap real quick, David, what you've done is you created a new GitHub project, and then locally, like on github.com, and then locally you created the same folder, like JSHint, what was it, JSHint DAFL,
yeah.
Or DoneJS. Everything, I guess that's important, is DoneJS generator should typically start with DoneJS dash, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you created DoneJS dash DAFL dash JSHint on GitHub, and then you created a folder, DoneJS dash DAFL dash JSHint, in your like development folder, and then within there you did DoneJS Add Generator.
Yes, and if you look at the folder structure, to go over it a little more, okay, error message. You'll see that it already created an index file, and it created a default generator. The default generator just creates a dummy file for us in our repository wherever we run it. So, and then it also has a test for creating that file already.
So, David, maybe you could walk me through a little bit of this. So that why this might be just because of Yaomin, but the main module of this npm project is lib/index.js, right?
Yeah, but it just re-exports this one. You could probably set that as you.
Well, that's what I was going to get. Is there something like, is there a convention with Yaomin that you would have different generators? Like there's a
so you can
export of default, and there's other ones too?
Yeah, there's other ones as well, but our DoneJS Add expects a default generator. So what this generates here is what you can use with DoneJS Add without having to change anything.
Cool.
All right, so we created a GitHub repository, enabled Travis CI, generated our folder structure and our working tests, and now we can actually just say, okay, let's add it all. And if I then push to master, you should see this show up somewhere on Travis. I'm not entirely sure where yet. Actually, if we go here,
Yeah, you can just copy that DAFL DoneJS DAFL JSHint and paste
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but we can actually go here and see it adds the package version and the batch already. So
the other place that I've found this was if you go to code and then go to branches and then click on the master branch, it'll have the little circle.
oh, then you can, yeah.
You can get to it that way.
So it adds the batch already, but I guess it will be in here, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
okay,
while that's
so
running, David, I'm also curious, can you show the default generator, like the little bit of what's happening right now?
what do you mean?
Well, just what this code does. What I mean, because people are going to start with this as boilerplate. What is the boilerplate doing?
It just copies this template file into your folder where you run it.
So here, okay, so this is like the default. I mean, some of this is a little bit of Yeoman for people who have never seen it before. How does Yeoman? So Yeoman, you extend the base generative Yeoman with an initializing, prompting, and writing.
Exactly.
And
this one asks one thing. It asks for like the name of the file, and then in writing it copies this file.js of the template folder into whatever name you picked for the input.
awesome.
And our master branch already passed, so that's cool because we have CI working. If you refresh this, we get a green badge, which is cool. All right, now we can do some actual work because this was all the setup stuff. I mean, it's not too much, so you can't really complain. We're going to create two files, the editor config and the JSHint RC. This, I think, is kind of similar to what we're using in CanJS. So in this folder for the templates, we can just create a JSHint RC, and then also an editor config. Now let's look at this one a little closer. So the Yeoman templates use EJS. And here we're basically want to ask the user for an indentation style as a prompt, and then put that value in the file when it's being written to the actual destination. So this is what this placeholder is for. All right, I'm going to delete this one. Nope. And then we can actually go to the next step. So this is all the files we created. And then now we got to actually add the generator functionality. So I'm going to quickly copy this part into the generator that we already had. Copy and paste from the internet. Now let's quickly look at it. So this looks similar to what we looked at before. You have your package.json that we need for some of the info. We have the editor config file, which we added here. We have the JSHint RC, which we added here. And in the prompting section, we'll just ask for the indent style. Remember that we put in here as a placeholder in the editor config. So it'll ask a list. It'll give you a list and ask if you want tabs or spaces for indentation. And then we'll store that. And when we write it, we'll do a couple of things. So first, we go through each file and copy the template file.
David, those the answers that people pick get saved as props.
Yes. So this .props.indent style will be. This will be the property where it's going to be saved. There's different types and different, you can ask like text input and multiple choice. And so for us, we're just going to ask for a list. There's documentation for this. You have a lot of options there for asking people questions. Now, we copied those files over. Here you see we copy the template from the template path to the destination. and we'll use this .props as the data. So basically anything that has been asked for can be used as a placeholder in your template files. Then we do one more thing. Remember up here we read the package.json from our project. And what we want to do is be able to say npm run JSHint, and it runs JSHint. But we also want to be able to update our test script to run JSHint when you type npm test, so that before it runs any tests at all, it makes sure that our code is nice and clean. So what we do is we take the package.json and then update the test script. So use the original test script or no test script, and then in front of it append an npm run JSHint. So this is only going to work. It's not going to work in Windows yet, but Windows has Bash now, so we'll be good. This is going to work on Linux and Mac OS. And then we have this JSHint script that just runs JSHint on our source folder. Now, the source folder is set in DoneJS in system.directories.lib, but if it's not set, we'll just default it to source. Then it says run on every JS file in the project and use this configuration that we just copied over. So far, so good?
Yeah, is it standard practice to enumerate all the files in your templates folder, or does Yeoman provide functionality to just say like, well, copy everything here and just generate it with?
You can copy them with a glob pattern.
Okay.
Like that, but often you want to name your files differently. So when you have like a module.component file, you want to name it actually the name that.
It doesn't allow what the old JavaScript MVC generators allowed, is you actually put templated magic tags in your file names.
No, you have to do that manually in your generator. You grab the file and then you name it to whatever you want the target to be. So that's why those are enumerated. In this case, we could have probably just copied them all over, but we'll just leave it at that for now. So
the other thing I like, I mean, I don't know if you got to, is the npm install, that you can do that from Yeoman.
Yeah, we're not doing. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. So yeah, we have to also install JS as a dependency, so that people don't have to install it globally. So like Justin said, you just say npm install and then JSHint, and then you can either say save, which means it'll be saved as a normal dependency in your package.json, or save as a development dependency, which is what we want because this is only needed for development. So that's cool. Now we can go to testing it. Now there's two ways. There is a section in the guide for manual testing. Yeah, we can do it. Let's do some manual testing. For manual testing, you basically do npm link in the folder of your generator. And then let's look, manual testing. We go into another folder. I'm going to use the chat and say npm link DoneJS.
Yeah.
So I have to link this because otherwise it'll try to install it from npm, which it isn't published yet. But now if I run DoneJS Add JSHint, it asks if I want tabs or spaces. I can want spaces. We override our package.json, and then you see here it created the editor config and the JSHint RC, and now it's going to take a little bit to install JSHint. Now if I open a text editor, you see here it created the JSHint RC, and this is not what we need.
So when I was going through the guide on this manual testing step, I just simply went to another folder, did DoneJS Add App to generate another like application there, and then I linked all of the npm, and then ran DoneJS Add Justin B. Meyer -JSHint.
Yeah. So yeah, I just used an existing app just to show that
if you don't have one,
you can add it to your...
you can do one that way pretty easy.
So here you see it added indent style as space, and then if you look in our package.json, it updated the test script, and it added a JSHint script. So if I now say npm run JSHint, get an error, which means, oh, JSHint complained in source app.js. There's a route that is defined but never used. I'm not going to fix that now, but it's basically this section here. So this is nice. We kind of know that our plugin is working now. But remember how we set up Travis CI? We also want some tests to run in continuous integration, and that's kind of, I guess, the last step that we need here. Is update our unit test. Now I'm going to copy and paste this one, and then we look at it. So, okay, I'm going to update this, obviously. There's a lot of like Yeoman specific things in here, but what we'll basically say here is before the test run the default generator, so it's that one up here, in a temporary directory, which is like just some random new directory with prompts. So mock out, instead of asking us, right? Mock out the indent style property as tab, and then run the actual test. So the first test is that we make sure that it created the JSHint RC and that there is the content that we expect. And the second one is we'll look at the editor config and make sure that the indent style property has been set to whatever we picked as the prompt. And then the last one is make sure that the package.json had the JSHint script added.
So, David, this test is not like, so if you looked at the test script, it would complain, right, or something? It would have not the usual content, because the test script, there isn't one if you're just generating this just in free space, not on top of a existing package.json.
Oh, yeah, so this is going to create a new package of JSON right now because it's basically running in an empty folder.
Yeah.
We kind of just want to make sure that our generator runs, because the other option would be, we talked about that earlier, the other option would be to use DoneJS to create a new app and then run this within the app and then make sure that the tests still run. But that's
alternatively, you could, yeah, that's another way you could do it, is also just create your package.json before you run this command, so you can say, well, this is what, because you might want to test like some of the logic in this generator is, does it, if there isn't a test script, I think if you go back to the source code for the,
yes,
if there isn't a test script,
it adds
no test specified.
Yeah. So we might want to test that as well.
Yeah, to do that, the simplest way would just be probably to create a dummy package.json.
Actually, the test script should probably be no test specified already. So it would look like test.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you wanted to make sure that if there was a test, it was working, you have to pre-generate a package.json in your default, your like temporary area.
Yes.
And if it was more complex, like NWJS or something, you'd want to like, you know.
Yeah, I don't even know how we're testing that one right now. I guess with a guide test. So, this is kind of the minimal necessary to kind of make sure that it kind of works. But yeah, you're right. Like there's a little more. If you want to make it really, really solid, we can add the other test steps as well to make.
Because that's what like our for DoneJS, its generators, we actually do generate a real app. We even kick off loading the app in the browser, like the result, right?
And running the guide steps for some
running
of
the guide steps. So that's like a real intense testing strategy, which by no means, please don't, I mean, add tests, which are great to your projects, but I would rather have people creating lots of generators and not worrying that the tests are just 100% perfect. People will report errors. This is the stuff that kind of runs when you're setting up the app anyway, so if it's not perfect, you know, it's not a, it's not the same level of scrutiny that core DoneJS needs.
Well, but yeah, for us, we learned over the last 8 years that if there's anything that you don't test, it'll probably eventually break.
Yeah, but it's different when you're the core versus.
Yeah. Okay, so let's leave those tests and run them and see what happens. Oh, we're in the DoneJS chat, so I'm going to go out of DoneJS chat and run the test of DoneJS JSHint. Cool, they all pass. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a branch generator. I'm going to, yeah.
So you're going to create a branch, you're going to commit everything to it, and push it out, and let the CI make sure it's working.
So now I push to my branch. Exactly, that's what I want to do here. So I'm push to my branch. And if I go here, it already says, oh, you pushed to that branch. Do you want to make a pull request? So yes, I do. I create the pull request, and then it says, oh, you don't want to merge that yet because your tests haven't passed yet. So we're just going to wait for our tests and Travis to pass. This is the cool thing about CI, because whenever somebody submits a feature, you kind of know that if your tests are still passing or not. This might take a little bit.
Now, David, could you add JSHint to your JSHint project?
It's already there, right? So that might be, I think.
Oh, we already generate. Wait, we put in .jshint.
Yeah, in the generator we did.
When with the actual generator for the generator adds a JSHint.
Yeah, I think it was from. It's the same for the plugin as well.
You should probably remove that now, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. So it doesn't get added in the app, but it got added in some of the plugins and generators because we didn't have this functionality before to just add it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I add it now, it'll ask to overwrite this file. And because we didn't implement, I might keep opening this file, because we didn't implement a making sure that the npm test script doesn't contain this already, I'll probably just write it into my package.json twice, right? So
yeah, but that would be it's almost unfortunate that it's in there, because if you think about how meta you would be getting, we would use the generator to generate a generator that we're going to use on the generated
generator. Okay, so all our tests pass, so we can just say, okay, merge it in. Don't forget to delete your branch, or you'll have a million stale branches. And then I'm gonna check out master. Rebase. Get all my sorry. Get all my latest changes. There we go. And then I guess I can publish it to npm.
Yeah, did you already publish it to npm when you were?
No.
Cool. Can we show the scripts before we actually run it?
Yeah, so they're pretty basic, but super helpful. We have patch, minor, and major release scripts. major is this version number, minor is this version number, and patch is this version number. So whenever you run one of those scripts, then it'll bump that number and then publish to NPM.
Yeah, you use it just like you use if you're making a plugin to DoneJS, like a component or something like that. It's the same commands. The plugin ones are more complex because they make a dist build for, you know, script tags and things like that for the other different formats that people might want to load your component in if they're not using Steel.js.
Yeah, this one is much easier.
Yeah, if that's not a problem for you, then the release scripts become really easy. Let's say it here.
And I guess we can just run it. I'm going to run a minor so that I have a 0.1.0. So you need an NPM account and you got to be logged in, obviously, but I already am. So let's look. It did. You see here the version commit. You see the release version 0.1.0. And if we go to NPM and search for it, you'll see that it's on NPM now. It's a little short of a description. I forgot to update the README. I got to do that for the generator. Okay, so let's see if I have another app where I can do this. Git status. I'm going to reset this one. So if you look at the Place My Order app, it does. Oh, dang it! It has a JSHint already.
Not in here though, huh?
Yeah, no, not in there. Well,
Run it.
It'll just ask us to override the files. So let's try it. DoneJS Add. Nah, come on. My JSHint. And then because we didn't link it, right? We'll just it'll install it from NPM.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll say for this one, I think we're using tabs. Override the package.json. It'll ask editor config already exists. Override that one. Override the JSHint RC. We got an.
Not like.
I think we got an error, but it did work. That was something.
Did you install? Maybe it was already there.
No, I think this was like something with the deploy. I think I linked a development version of the deploy in here to do some debugging. So that might be, that has nothing to do with this. But if you look in package.json, you'll see it added npm run JSHint and here as well. So if we run it now, we'll probably get a couple errors. Oh, it probably did.
Installed JSHint though, right?
It didn't because npm install failed because there's a deploy that I linked in here. It's a long story that has nothing to do with what I wanted to show. Okay, well, I'm gonna quickly install it manually. I might fail again, but
yeah,
no, yeah.
I imagine you would.
Okay.
Well, we can just wave our hand. It would work. Things weren't messed up.
I had it in the chat already, but
you could undo those changes to the chat and then redo it, and then unlink. You'll have to unlink though.
Not a Git repository, but yeah. Okay, so undo the changes.
You want to change the package.json.
Could have had another test project.
Oh, unlink takes that long?
I don't know what it's doing. What did I want to look at? Oh yeah, here. It updated our npm package version 2. All right. DoneJS Add.
So this is it's downloading right now, presumably.
Yeah, it's also a little slow today for some reason.
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit of what DoneJS is doing behind the scenes. So the DoneJS Add Command, what it's going to do is locally look for a DAFL or a DoneJS -DAFL JSHint project installed locally for a generator. If it doesn't find that, then it's going to say, okay, I'm going to use the local version npm to install it, and then once it's installed, it's actually going to run the default generator. So that's why, like, the first time you run these, add one of these generators is a little slow. Do we keep the generator around? Like,
no, because usually we're not installing them as a dependency because most of them are a one-time occurrence.
Like the component one wouldn't be.
Yeah, the component one sticks around as a development dependency, but a lot of them are like a one-time occurrence kind of thing. You add Cordova only once. But if they were to have to stick around, they'd install themselves as a dependency. So let's try this again. Override the package.json. It created an editor config and a JSHint RC. And while this is running and installing, I'm going to fix the JSHint error that I set it for, and then see if it runs this time. So it already updated our package.json, and it's just we're just waiting for the dev dependency down there. Oh, I have no luck today, have I?
What happened? This worked for me last night.
Well, it also worked when we did it. Let's see. When we did link it before. I think it's my Node version. Oh yeah, it probably is.
What version of Node are you running?
No, I installed it with a Node 4, and this is 5.10. When there's compile dependency, it has to recompile. So if I reinstall, it'll be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think we can safely.
Yeah,
as long as your environment.
Our linked version and our tested version worked, and it did everything that it was supposed to. So it updated everything, right? So this is just an installation kind of setup problem that I had. But I think that's it. So it was pretty quick. It only took us half an hour.
Yeah, awesome.
And
yeah.
once you're done, then tweet it, share it in the forums, throw it in the chat. Yeah,
I really hope that people start creating these. I definitely know that a lot of people have been asking for Electron. People have talked about Raspberry Pi. JSHint, I think, too. And you can even make your own you can make your own component generators. Really, anything that matches your workflow, you could create, and then you could use the generator to make a generator that you could then share with everybody else to kind of share your workflow with other people.
So in version 0.9, we also added functionality for making it possible to use other testing frameworks. So that's some generators that we're gonna work on sometime soon, so that you can just say DoneJS add Mocha, and it'll generate Mocha tests from then on. So that's gonna be exciting.
Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you so much, David. And next week we're going to be talking about CAN fixture, the updated CAN fixture. There'll probably be an article out maybe Friday or tomorrow about it. We'll see about how you can simulate testing your services. And then I think the week after that is, I think someone posted a request for us to talk about JavaScript design patterns, inheritance, object-oriented programming, functional programming, our thoughts on those. So that should be 2 weeks away. Hope to see you all then. Thanks again, David, and have a good weekend.
Thanks, everybody.